Hi everyone, I'm Nate and welcome to Elevate with Nate, a place for learning, growth and self-improvement. Join me as we explore a wide range of topics, sharing insights and new knowledge from my personal learning journey. So in today's episode, we're continuing with the series on my workout plan, and it's the fourth day of that plan. So there's already been episodes on the first, second and third, which are chest and shoulders, day one. Day two was a combination of back, traps and forearms, and day three was arms, so biceps and triceps. And day four, today's episode, is on leg day. Right, so in case you're listening to this and you have experience in lifting, you might be thinking that the first exercise will be a classic barbell squat. And you wouldn't be wrong. But here's the one thing why I don't make this my first, and actually I don't include this at all in this leg day workout. It's because I find that barbell squats are so actually good and so intense that me personally, when I hit my barbell squats, I'm so wrecked for the rest of the workout. I just do nothing. I try my best to do the lunges or the other bits and bobs, but I just can't go as hard because I'm so knackered from the leg day. So from squats. So I personally still do them, but I do my squats on my fifth day of the week, okay? The fifth workout day, which would be simply just squats, some ab stuff, and then some cardio. And I'll make a video on that after this one. So just so you're aware, I'm not including squats in my particular leg day workouts. But if you personally can handle it and you want to, then by all means, stick it in and make it the first one of the routine. So for my routine, my first one actually is going to be some sort of calf raise. Now again, many people will stick with their quads and their glutes and their hamstrings first and leave calves till last. But what I found is, like with many things in my workouts, if you keep leaving things till last, what happens is you always neglect it and you don't do it. And for me in particular, I have very weak calves, both for genetics but also just, I guess I don't hit them that hard, the classic. I try and now put it first to ensure that I've got energy to actually go hard with it. So that's my first exercise. And then it depends on what you have in your gym on how you hit this. So in the most recent gym I was working at, there wasn't a Smith machine, okay? So what I'll use instead is I'll go to the machine leg press and you simply kind of push it out, put your toes on the end and you press off and do a calf raise like that. And for these things, by the way, I recommend you don't lock out your knees, complete straight leg, because you might hurt yourself. Have a slight bend in the knee and then just, push off and get a good contraction there. Also, depends on what you like. I personally find that actually in that position, if I lean forward a bit, I get a better contraction. Not sure quite why, but give it a go. So that's one version. If you do have a Smith machine, then also give that a go. You can kind of, if possible, find a plate or some kind of stand so that when you kind of put the barbell on the Smith machine on your shoulders, you can have a deficit for your ankles to go properly up and down to get a good stretch. The stretch is the key thing here for training your calves. And so you're aware, actually, this Smith machine barbell calf raise is my preferred option. I just can't do it in my current gym. And then finally, there's also other variations where you sit down in the seat and there'll be a machine which kind of puts, let's say, a rest on top of your thighs, and you can load weights, and then again, you're going to lift up your ankles and calf raise there. And I think the sat down one focuses more on your soleus and kind of the lower parts of your kind of calf, which connects your ankle, but it will also hit the main chunky meaty bit of your calf. So for calves, the next question would be, well, what's the correct number of reps to hit for this? And if you do research online, you'll see that you get different answers for this. Many people talk about how you want to hit it for many reps because they say you walk on your feet, you walk every day, and therefore you're so used to using your calves that you need to put extra volume, extra reps in there. And I'm not saying that's wrong, but it's also kind of a argument for no, it's like any other muscle in your body, which means that if you want to get stronger, also lift heavy. So I do the following thing. I have my first set where I will go heavy, and not for crazy low reps. I won't do 4 or 5 reps, but I'll go for, let's say, 8 to 10 reps, or say 10 reps, going heavy, okay? And each rep you're contracting, good slow stretch, push up and contract. But then in my second set, I'll then try and go quite a bit more, let's say 15 to 20, and then at that point, I'll also do a drop set. So I'll just do 2, maybe 3 sets of the calf raises, one being the heavier one, and the second or third being the lighter ones, and the drop sets to get the blood pump. So we hit both combinations, heavy and then more hypertrophy. And then finally, for these calf raises, you might also notice feet position, and you might have known already that you've got 3 options. You've got the feet kind of flat up, you have toes pointing in or toes pointing out. To be perfectly honest, unless you're an absolute pro or you have particular preference for one of these things, I've tried them all. If in doubt, just do standard. I don't think you're going to have a massive difference. They claim that it might be that, let's say for toes in, it might be the outer parts, and then in reverse for toes out. But I don't know, just give it a better shot. I don't think it's a massive issue about your calf growth, whether you have toes in, out, or straight. So, number 2 exercise for leg day is going to be some sort of now leg press. So sure, I didn't do my squats on this leg day, but I will still get some leg pressing motions. And in this one, you've got 2 or 3 options again, depending on what your gym has. And the main 2 I like is either a hack squat, that's the one where I have an image here somewhere, where you're kind of lying at a 45 degree, let's say a bit more angle, and you kind of go down and push up, or a kind of, I think it's called an inclined leg press, where this one you're kind of leaning backwards, your feet in the air, and you're pushing upwards. They're both good options. You can of course also do just a regular leg press machine, like where you're doing your calf raises, but just pushing. But I prefer the first 2, especially for the ones which have plate loaded as opposed to just a machine. If you have both the hack squats or let's say the incline leg press machine, which to go for if you want to pick one, I personally go for the hack squats. I find it a bit more challenging. I find that it feels a bit better on my quads. And then finally, and in some ways more importantly, because it's harder, I have to add fewer weights. Because when I'm doing the incline, say leg press one, because it's easier, you can start stacking on plates and plates and plates. And it's just a bit of a pain in the arse having to put it off at the very end, which you should do, good gym etiquette, but it's very annoying and takes more of my time up in the gym. So I go personally for the hack squats if possible. And rep ranges again, I'll do just for now, let's say 3 sets, 1 heavier going for, I would say for this one, 6 reps. Okay, I want to push the muscle, make it feel something heavy. And then the second and third sets, I aim more for 12 reps for hypertrophy. In case you're wondering, you might be thinking, right, Nate, I've watched your first 3 workout videos and you talk about doing just 2 sets. Isn't that enough? And all I would say for that is, because you'll see I have fewer exercises in this workout, I don't mind for the legs doing 3 sets. But if you want to do just 2 sets, 1 heavy, 1 lighter, then that's also fine. And then finally, the last thing to mention about the leg pressing is actually feet position, okay? And you've got really 2 main options. It's going to be either on the, say the place where you put your feet, either have them lower down or higher up. Okay, you can go kind of also wider and or closer, but generally I would say if you're going lower down, you're going to have your feet, let's say, shoulder apart, and if you're going higher up, you might go a bit more than that. So here's the difference. When it comes to you doing a squatting motion, and this also applies when doing a barbell squat for my next video, your knee position, okay, it can determine which part of your upper leg gets hit the most. And of course, this will also depend on your anatomy of the length of your limbs, but generally, if you're doing a squat, if your knee doesn't go too far over your feet, let's say, it's more your bum going backwards, say more kind of right angled, that's going to hit actually more your glutes, okay? Whereas if your knees are going really kind of far in front of your feet, by doing this, you're going to focus actually more on your quads, okay? Become the front of your legs. Now, of course, it will do both, okay? You're gonna hit glutes and quads, but that's the emphasis. And what will happen here is your ability to move your knee further forward will depend also on your ankle flexibility. So sadly for me, I'm more interested in trying to grow my quads than my glutes, okay? But my entire life, sadly, I haven't got flexibility, and also I've got very long kind of upper legs. So whenever I squat, it's always quite kind of right angled, and it's always my glutes getting hit. If I do a heavy leg day, it's always my glutes that are knackered. I hardly even feel my quads when doing squats. Very frustrating. So when I say now go on to my hack squats or my leg presses, I on purpose try and put my feet as low as possible to try and force myself to have my knees coming forward, and I do feel more on my quads. So if you want to really have as much quads possible, put your feet lower down. And there's also one last thing to watch out for when doing this. If you have got bad flexibility, actually when you go deeper and deeper into your squats, okay, your ankle will want to lift off because of course you can't not use that position of being kind of you're going forward. Try your best to keep your ankle down, okay? Now on the flip side, if you're someone who wants to get a bigger bum, bigger glutes, then it's the opposite. You want to have your feet higher up, okay, come right out, even a bit wider sometimes, more for your abduction and adductors too, and push out from there. It just depends on what your goals are for your leg day and for your pressing motions. And of course, please, please, please do good form, and more importantly, good depth. If you're doing any kind of pressing motion, okay, even if you're doing it in a machine, a hack squat, leg press machine, you want to go past essentially the position you'd be in if you're doing a barbell squats and reaching kind of right angle, if you're going kind of parallel to the floor. I even go a bit below that. So when doing a leg press, I would approach a situation where, I can't do it here, but you know, your upper leg is almost touching to your body, okay? The more stretch you get in lifting, the more you're going to be kind of tearing that muscle and making better gains. So do that. Right, so at this point we've done the calf raises, we've done the main kind of pushing motion, and now we're going to go on to the posterior, the back side of your legs, hitting your hamstrings and our glutes again with a Romanian deadlift. I'll have here again an image of how it's done, but essentially it's like a normal deadlift if you know how it's done, but you're going to grab a barbell and you're going to kind of go down your body, and the main thing here to watch out for is mentally what you're doing is as the barbell goes down your body, keep it quite close to your torso and into your legs and your knees, and simply keep pushing your bum further and further and further out, okay? That's the best way to do this, and by doing that, you're going to feel, hopefully, a great stretch on your hamstrings and your bum, your glutes. Do be aware though that for this, you don't have to go till you touch the floor, and most people probably couldn't go low at all. If you get to the stage where you feel like your back is now rounding, you're going too low. At that point, what you're doing is you're hurting your back. So depends on your flexibility. As long as you get some kind of stretch in your hamstrings, you're good to go. At that point, obviously power up and kind of bring hips forward and squeeze your glutes. Just so you're aware, actually, I now don't do this actually in my own workout. It's just because I've got some back issues, that's what everyone does now, and this starts to actually hurt me, even if I'm doing not too deep. So I don't, but for many years I did, and it was fine then. So do include this. Obviously, if it starts hurting you, leave it out. In terms of rep range for this one, I actually don't go too heavy at all on my first set. I actually do both sets, 2 sets of 10 to 12 reps. If you want 3 sets, be my guest. And finally, on this Romanian deadlift, just be aware that if as you go heavier, you might find that your grip strength is the limiting factor. You know, you'll find that your hands give way if it's too heavy for you. Some solution for this will be either wear wraps, okay, when doing this, and that will sort you out. You could take a switch grip, that'll help you out too. I find it a bit unbalanced doing that, but you might like it. Or even just, again, going with our dumbbells. Some people like that more for their grip. okay? I tend to not like using wraps and wrist wraps because I find that I want to get a better grip strength and forearms. But if it's not going to ruin your workout, then by all means use them. So that was number 3. And number 4 is going to be some sort of hip thrust. So this again is hitting the posterior, your hamstrings too, but a more focus on your glutes, okay, than big booties. So at this situation here, it depends again what you have in your gym. I personally for this actually quite like if you've got a specialized machine just to do your hip thrust, because in these machines you can plate load it and it's just quite comfy. It has a nice kind of comfy kind of leathery material. You put it on and then you go and you do it. This again I do just to where before I go into other techniques, you do again 10 to 12 reps for 2 sets. If you want to have one set 8 reps or so for more strength, you can, but not that needed. So if you haven't got this machine, then you can just do it with the barbell and you get a bench out. You can have to kind of lean against it. I'm going to put a bit here and thrust it up, okay? When you're thrusting this, you can have it so that your feet are flat on the floor, or often actually I personally have my toes up and I can push off just my ankles. They're both fine. Now, the reason why I prefer using the machine, if it's then possible, is because the setup can be a bit tedious with a barbell, being going heavy enough, and then it's going to hurt your hips. So you've got to use some sort of foam to put around the barbell. We would wrap towels around it, anything to kind of protect yourself. But it's a bit tedious, okay? But if you've got nothing else you can use, then tough. Then do it with a barbell. I, for many years, have used barbells for this. And a last option also is, and you often see it, is people using the Easy Bar, the Smith machine for this. That's completely fine too. And as ever, focus on slow down, good stretch, and power up and squeeze for a few seconds at the very top. So at this point, we're 4 down now, and we're almost done with what I call the main kind of bigger kind of compound lifts. There's just the one more left, which is a very, very, very nasty one. And it's going to be a lunge, okay? But in particular, it's the nastiest type which everyone hates doing. It's the Bulgarian split squat. This is an absolute nightmare of an exercise. And once again, I actually nowadays don't do this. I do a different variation. You're probably thinking, on every single exercise, I'm not doing them. And I apologise, I do miss certain variations. But for this one here, I just found that over the years, when doing a Bulgarian split squat, it's the one thing in my entire life I was working out, where literally afterwards, doesn't matter how hard I go, how light I go, how heavy I go, I'd almost gonna pass out when I throw up, but for like half an hour afterwards. I don't know why, I get some blood rush, it's horrible. So I now go, scrap that. I like working out, but I hate for half an hour feeling feeling awful. So I now just go, it's not worth my gains, okay? But I think I'm quite unique for that. Give it a go, you should be fine-ish. But what it is, you're gonna get a bench, okay? And I'll have, again, some videos in place. Have a bench, and you're gonna hold 2 dumbbells. You can hold a barbell if you want. I find it harder because you have to have the whole setup, okay? When you say you're now gonna collapse, you're gonna constantly more. What you do is launch it off your head. That's tough. I hold 2 dumbbells, okay? And you're gonna put your back leg basically on the bench behind you, and either have your foot kind of flattened, like a bit awkward, kind of flattened against the bench, or out to one side. Just do what works for your ankle, okay? And at that point, you're going to simply, if you're holding onto your dumbbells, you're going to go down, again, deep, and come back up on one leg. And I'll do here kind of 12 reps or so per leg. And this is where it gets tough, because once you've done one leg, in theory, to get your workout done and dusted, you'll switch immediately, which really means that in one entire set, you're doing 24 reps, you're 12 per leg. It just feels horrible, okay? But give it a shot, see if you can handle it. And again, it depends on who you are. Me personally, even though I'm not actually that strong on my squats, let's say if I'm doing my squats and I'm doing 8 to 10 reps, I wouldn't go that much heavier than 100 kg, 220 pounds. And yet when doing this one, I can hold about 100 pounds, 40 kg per hand. I think it's because I played badminton as a kid, lunging around, I don't know. So you can go heavy on this. And obviously, similar to the leg pressing motion, depending on what you want to hit, you position your foot. So if you want to hit more my quads, remember, you want to have the knee over your foot. All you do is, you'll take a small step away from the bench. So by having your foot close to the bench, you're forced to, if you go down, go over your knee, you're hitting more your quads. Whereas hit more my glutes, my bum, I'll take a big step away from the bench, okay? So when I go down, I'm making a right angle, not going over my foot. So that's what you need to do, and you pick what you want for your goals. Okay, but in case you find out that actually, like me, it's just horrendous, and you want a slightly different thing, what I do personally is, I now just do walking lunges. So in theory, it's a pretty similar motion, and sure, you get a bit reduced range of motion because as you go down, your other leg will hit the floor or get close to the floor, but it's still okay, and it's still really knackering. I just find that I can handle that, whereas the other one just kills me. So give that a shot. I mean, you can see people doing stuff where they take a lunge forward and keep kind of walking back and forth on the spot. I just don't like that personally. I find that my other foot behind me assists pushing back, whereas when I can literally walk around, just walking back and forth, I find that more natural on the leg which I'm pressing off with. So again, give both a shot, but I prefer doing the walking ones. So in order would be for your gains, it'd be Bulgarian split squat number 1, if you can handle it. If you can't, then do a walking lunge, and then finally just the in-place ones. So at this point, we're not too far from the end. We've done 5 exercises, okay, but given that some are quite quick, or 2-3 sets, you should be okay here. Now we're doing more isolation exercises. I'm going to start with a classic leg extension. Hopefully your gym will have this. Most gyms have this machine. So again, you're going to go to leg extension machine, and this one again, all I do is 2 sets. The first will be a heavy one. I'm going for, I would say, 8 to 10 reps. What you might find is, if you're quite strong, you probably are maxing this out, and that's actually too light for you. So in which case, it's tough. Just go, just keep maxing out on your reps. But on the second set, here's the important thing. As ever, it's a drop set. So do it all. When you can't anymore, drop it down, just get a sick pump in your legs. So that's going to be the 6th exercise, leg extension. And you can probably guess now, for the 7th one, it's going to be the reverse. It's going to be a hamstring curl to hit your hamstrings with the exact same combination, okay? Kind of 8 reps for heavy one, and second set, do 12 with a drop set. Just be aware though, because you've got 2 main types of hamstring curl machines. You've got the ones which are essentially when you lie on your front, okay? And the ones where you're kind of sat in a seat. And they actually do kind of both hit slightly different states of, let's say, of your hamstring, of being shortened and lengthened. So they're both worth doing. My concern is that for some hamstring machines, I just find that I don't actually like the machines. I'm in there, I feel squished in place, even when changing the position, it doesn't feel very good, and I don't get good contraction. So if that does happen to you, there is a solution to this. These things. So these are kind of ankle, I guess, wraps or straps. And what you do is, around your ankle, okay, you go around your ankle, okay, do this, come round and you attach it, okay, so that's that on my foot. And the point here is, this is a connection which can go onto any of these cable machines. So what you would do is, put on your ankles, and I'll put the connection point on the cable machine right at the bottom and connect it to my ankle. And now what I'll do is I'll get a bench, okay, if you have one in your gym, and kind of lie it down kind of in front of your cable machine. And I'll turn around and basically do the lying down hamstring curl, but with the cables rather than the actual machine which you're going to push against. And I like this because when doing this, you're in complete control of the range of motion. Yeah, it's a cable, not an actual machine you're moving. So I do this, and I find personally this is the best one for my hamstrings because I'm in complete control. So if you have If you don't like the machines in your gym for hamstrings, give it a go. This again cost me like £10 online on Amazon, not much. So at that point, that's normally near the end, or if not the end, of the workout. But just one thing more I might do if I have time and energy. And it's to focus on, basically you can say your inner legs. So your abductors and adductors. And this is the machines which have, let's say, where you can have your legs kind of going out wide and you're pushing inwards, or the opposite, pushing outwards. It's quite a small muscle, but I do find that it does help with the main compound lifts, and it does look quite good to have, not kind of have like, decent sized in and out of the leg, not just little twigs at the top. So if you have those machines in your gym, do give them a go, okay? I probably wouldn't go that heavy again, but again, 10 to 12 reps, 2 sets each. So that I would recommend to do if you can in your gym. If not, there's one kind of variation which I do, because my gym doesn't, sadly, which is a lateral lunge. So what I do is I take a very, very, very wide stance, okay, like almost as wide as possible. I put a barbell on my back, or even just nothing, and you're going to come down. I'll try and find a video for this. You come down to one side, right to the floor, and come back up. Go to the other leg, and come back up. It's quite hard to do, okay, so you might need some balance with this. But I find doing that, I do feel it, because I'm pushing it laterally, I do find I'm hitting a bit of that part of my abductors and adductors. So if you haven't got the machines, give that a shot. So that is the end of the leg day. Hopefully you enjoyed that. And in the next video, you're going to be having my 5th workout, which is the squats, the abs, and the cardio. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button and bell notification. Feel free to leave any comments and any suggestions for future content. And as ever, onwards and upwards.